What does it mean to be in someone else's shoes, to change a perspective and to try to see from their point of view? And how accurate can we be when we know nothing about them at all? Escape is a curious indie game from Lena Raine, who you may recognize as the composer from Celeste earlier this year. Escape is different from other games you may have played, an interactive novel with a cyberpunk retro aesthetic. It's probably best described as a visual novel, but with unorthodox visuals. But what makes Escape so interesting is how it takes advantage of its medium as an interactive video game. I've wanted to talk about Escape for a while, but it's been difficult to find anything to say about it without spoiling the mystery and intrigue. So while I'll keep spoilers to a minimum, if this game seems interesting, I encourage you to go check it out. The game is being sold on itch.io for a minimum of $5, $10 with the soundtrack bundled in. Escape opens to a CRT monitor with white text welcoming you to something called Vertimuck. Scanlines distort on the screen, you hear the whirring of a computer in the background, and typing returns a satisfying retro click. You are in front of a computer playing a text-based game, a MUD, and you have a few commands you can try out, but as you find out immediately, this choice is an illusion. You're told in a message that everything you see has already happened and that this is just a reenactment. So while you go through the motions of typing, you don't choose what you get to say. What follows is a story told on different levels. This text game you're reenacting was an online roleplay server where players got together for joint storytelling. But on top of that, you have the story of the players themselves, how their personalities leak into the roleplay, how they interact with each other, and how they interact with you. And because you're the one typing the messages on the keyboard, the story is told directly in first person as you. This is a fascinating experience. You never hear the thoughts or intentions of the person you're typing as, but you still go through the motions of speaking through them. This forces you into their perspective in a way that could only happen with this direct interaction with the story. The story itself is very well written. Characters are believable and full of personality. It really feels like these could be people you're chatting with online. And the mystery behind what is going on and where it's going will keep you reading till the end. There's also a surprising use of visuals for a game that is mostly text. From screen distortions and window glare to cryptic poetry to crazy imagery. Again, Escape makes great use of its medium, and it would be remiss of me to ignore the soundtrack. Lena Raine's work on Celeste was phenomenal, and she shines just as bright here. You might be thinking, how does a simulation of a text-based game work in a full soundtrack? But she makes it work so well. The music is integral to the game and its story. It really creates an immersive experience, and by the end, it leads into one of my favorite, wait, what? Moments in a video game in a long time. My only criticism with Escape is the side story that plays out in between chapters. It was interesting, and I liked where it ended up. But it was very separated from the rest of the story, and it broke the otherwise strong narrative cohesion. I think more could have been done to keep it connected to the rest of the game, especially early on. Escape is a short game, but it's a fantastic, surreal experience. It's subtle storytelling that grows loud when it needs to. Despite being essentially a short novel, it makes amazing use of music, visuals, and interaction with the story, creating strong cohesion or narrative design, and it is absolutely worth some of your time.